Kids, in this video, we are going to spend a little time with 2, 2, and 2, which are all homophones, which means that they sound the same. We're going to look at them in this way where we cover and say, which means we're going to replace it to figure out which one to use with that strategy. If you don't have this sheet, you need to hit pause, go get it, glue it into your notebook, and then we will practice. All right, so here we go. We're going to take a look at these different versions. For TO, it's like in an effort to, going toward. These are not perfect definitions. They're just to give you an idea. This is kind of your catch-all or default, okay? If these two don't work, then it's this one, because this one has a lot of meanings and is used in a lot of different ways in sentences. TOO either means also or excessive, like very much so. So the words that you can cover and replace with are also and very. Finally, TWO is a number. And if you cover up and put the number 3 or say 1 or whatever in there, that will get you to know if that's the correct one. So as we start to take a look here, we say, I want to learn cursive. I want to learn cursive. So we're going to go to these two here because we know this one is our catch-all. Like if these don't work, this is the one. So I want to learn cursive. I want also learn cursive. That doesn't make sense. I want very learned cursive. Doesn't make sense. I want 3 learn cursive. Does not make sense. So because these 3 do not work, we know it has to be TO. I want to learn cursive over these next 2 days of school. So I want to learn cursive over these next also days of school, over these next very days of school, over these next 3 days of school. 3 makes sense. It's talking about a number of days, and therefore we know it's TWO. Okay, I want to learn cursive over these next 2 days of school also. Okay, that makes sense. I want to learn cursive over these next 2 days of school very. So this one doesn't make sense, but also does. I want to learn cursive over these next 2 days of school 3. That doesn't make sense. So also is our way to go here. So we're going to have TOO. Let's take a look at the next example. Do you want 2 or 3 pieces of candy? So do you want also or 3 pieces of candy? Doesn't make sense. Do you want very or 3 pieces of candy? Doesn't make sense. Do you want 3 or 3 pieces of candy? Now, although 3 or 3 doesn't make sense, we can tell because this right here is a number, but this one is probably also a number, and therefore TWO. We don't need our catch-all there. Do you want 2 or 3 pieces of candy to put in your bag? 2 or 3 pieces of candy also put in your bag? Ooh. That does make sense, but that's not the right one. So sometimes these rules don't quite work. Good lesson for you. 2 or 3 pieces of candy very put in your bag. 2 or 3 pieces of candy 3 put in your bag. Doesn't make sense. This one is actually going to be your catch-all. Okay. Also, the TOO in regard to also means like along with, like I want to come too. I want to come also. So it's not just replacing it. So if you get TOO with also, take a double look at it to see if it means to like me too, like in addition to. Okay, here's the next one. It was too hot. It was also hot. It was very hot, or it was 3 hot. So very makes sense. So we're going to see TOO. It was too hot to sit. It was too hot also sit, too hot very sit, too hot 3 sit. Those don't make sense. So we trickle back to our default. Okay. It was too hot to sit in the 2 chairs closest to the fire. Now I know I'm talking about chairs. Okay. To sit in the also chairs, to sit in the very chairs, to sit in the 3 chairs closest to the fire. Okay, so we know that's TWO. Okay, and kind of see the pattern we're using here by replacing that space with a different word, then we are able to kind of determine which one may be our best bet. Okay, so why were there blank donuts left? Why were there also donuts left? Okay, so it kind of makes sense. Why were there very donuts left? Does not make sense. Why were there 3 donuts left? So now I have to look at that idea of also, like in addition to. So why were there like in addition to donuts left? Like that doesn't make sense, okay? Usually when it's referring to the number of something, which this one happens to be, but again, when it says also, don't just jump in there and throw one in because it does make sense, but it's not referring to the fact that there's also lots of things. I don't know. So you have to kind of use some of that logic. So when I went to the store, no, this is TW, I'm sorry. When I went to the store, there were 5. Oh, I got the mistake in the wrong spot, or the comma in the wrong spot there. Oops. When I went also the store, when I went very the store, when I went 3 the store, or is it going to be our default? I'll give you a second. Okay, you should have gotten that default in there, and then we will go to the last one. Hi. All right. Going to the concert. Okay, so going also concert, going very the concert, going 3 the concert. Do any of those make sense? Okay, and so if they don't make sense, what do we need to use instead? That's right, TO, our default. Okay, going to the concert was a little too stressful for me. Was a little also stressful for me, a little very stressful for me, a little 3 stressful for me. Okay, so this one is actually very stressful, TOO. And again, none of these rules are quote unquote perfect. There are very specific grammar rules that follow in with all of these. But if you can have a strategy to go to those specific words and find them and replace them with something else, that's going to help you be able to start to really see the difference among these different twos. So now what I want for you to do, get out your writing notebook or something that you've written that I wrote this on top of, and I want for you to go ahead and highlight, to get a highlighter or a pen or something, circle every 2 that you have, whether it's TO, TOO, or TWO, and then go back and do the cover method here, where you cover up the 2 that you wrote and ask yourself, I want also learn cursive, I want very learn cursive, I want 3 learn cursive, and go, none of those make sense here, so it's got to be my default. Over the next 2 days of school, over these next also days of school, very days of school, 3 days of school. 3 is what I want, so I replace it with the TWO. Okay, give this a try and then bring it on up and show me your work. Good luck.